Well, Trey Benson will be Florida State's first running back to reach 1,000 yards since Dalvin Cook. All that and more on today's edition of Locked On Seminoles. Dave, let's ride.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to another edition of Locked On Seminoles. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Drake here, and today's episode of Locked On Seminoles is brought to you by friends over at LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Jobs, you can hire qualified candidates more efficiently by matching open roles with people who have the skills, values, and experiences to help you achieve your 2023 goals. Post your job for free, most importantly, for the free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege, and as always, terms and conditions do apply. Now, Dave, we got Dave in the StreamYard today. Dave, you ready to talk some running backs?
I, of course, am ready to talk one of the better position groups on Florida State's team. Seems like year in and year out for a few years now. Pretty reliable, of course.
No, that's the thing with that. And that was heading into last season. We were wondering how Trey Benson and Treshaun Ward were able to, I guess, if they would be able to replicate the production and sort of the dynamic changing that Treshaun Corbin had for a team last year, right? Treshaun Corbin was the former running back that we had here for 2 seasons, the first 2 years under head coach Mike Norvell. And through the year, what did you expect from the team, from the group? And as overall, as always, how did you feel they actually kind of met the challenge? Because they not only did they meet the challenge, but they exceeded it.
Well, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I was delighted to be not just wrong, but loud wrong last year about what I thought Trey Benson would bring to this team. When we announced, when we heard that he had committed to Florida State, I'd wondered what the heck we were doing taking running back coming off a really bad knee injury. I didn't think we needed another running back on the roster. I thought we were fine with Treshaun Ward and Lawrance Toafili, and I just thought we were fine. We didn't need to add to that room, and I couldn't have been more wrong. So my expectations, I think, were already pretty high without Trey Benson, and so adding him to the mix, and with him being the lead back last year and flourishing early and often like he did, my expectations of that group were shattered. It became one of the best running units and teams in the country, and I think that's taking out even Jordan Travis's running ability, which he really didn't showcase an awful lot last year. So that's what I think was most impressive to me about the running game last year is it wasn't spearheaded by Jordan Travis's legs as it had been in the years prior. It was truly a running game by running backs behind an offensive line that wasn't exactly elite in the running game. So, I think I thought if anything that would be what hamstrings the running back group. And this has become a recurring theme now at Florida State, where when we have a great running season, it's often in spite of either bad or not better than decent run blocking. And so I think there were reasons to think that, it wouldn't be one of the best running back groups in the country, but it'd still be good. And it was one of the best.
No, it truly was. And nothing showcased more the depth with how the running back room is when Treshaun Ward went down, right? And Treshaun Ward went down. I want to say it was the Wake Forest game, or was one of the game, or maybe it was the game after that where we missed the Clemson game. He didn't come back until after. I want to say it was after Miami. He came back towards the end of the year. NC State. Okay, yeah, he get hurt during the NC State game. And overall, it just showcases that. And Trey Benson came into the fold. Trey Benson kind of stepped up, and that was when we're saying, hey, how good is the Trey Benson kid really? And you see, not only does he have the dynamite speed that you kind of wanted to basically one back, but also like he was one of the tougher people to bring down. Tackling Trey Benson is not fun. Tackling Trey, if Trey Benson was coming towards me on the football field, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make a business decision. I'm going to lay down. Just you can just go right past me. But he's just someone that was basically he's physically dominating and physically punishing the way he runs the football. And over the course of the year, you saw him, grow with patience, grow with vision. And also, his hands are pretty decent, and you just saw that more, not super evidently, probably for the rest of the year. I think 100+ yards in each of the last 4 games, And Trey Benson just showcased you why he should be the number one running back for 2023.
Yeah, this coaching staff isn't stupid, clearly. And, you know, I think the predisposition when you have a guy already on the roster who's done things for you for a couple years now that are really good, like Treshaun Ward has, for him to be supplanted in the way he was by Trey Benson after he came back from his injury, I think speaks to how incredible this coaching staff thinks Trey Benson is and how the running game operates when it runs through him. So it was a little, having Treshaun Ward on this roster, I think going, for even towards the end of last year was mostly an insurance policy. You saw him break double digit carries against Oklahoma for the first time since that game against Wake, and he averaged over 8 yards a carry against Oklahoma. So it, I'm not going to call it a luxury having Treshaun Ward. That's not the word I'm going to use. But even most of last year, once Trey Benson stole the show, Treshaun Ward became more of a compliment. And that there were last year what I believe to be a lot of compliments in the running back room. I thought Lawrance Toafili did a fairly complimentary job. I think I there's room to grow for Lawrance Toafili, but I think we know exactly who he is. And he is a pretty decent running back to spell Trey Benson. He's quick. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He's not going to run over you. He's going to try to run around you. And, it got him almost 5 yards a carry. So, you had him at almost 5 yards a carry. You had Rodney Hill over 5 yards a carry. Jordan Travis ended up averaging 8 yards a carry last year. So obviously the running game can still work when he wants or pushes it to. And then Treshaun Ward and Trey Benson, 6.5 and 6.7. So, all those figures look pretty good for just production in general, but there was no slouch in this running back room. I mean, these are all guys that are going to average close to or greater than 5 yards a carry. And it wasn't just the Trey Benson show. There were more complementary pieces in the room than just that. So all around, I think pretty impressive what you got out of that room.
And you know what also was impressive, Dave?
What's that, Drake?
Our friends over at LinkedIn Jobs. That's right, folks. LinkedIn, the title sponsor for today's episode. As a small business or owner or hiring manager, you know that success in 2023 all depends on the team members you surround yourself with. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. With LinkedIn Jobs, you can hire qualified candidates more efficiently, matching open roles with people who have the skills, values, and experiences to help you achieve your goals. Dave, you've used LinkedIn Jobs before, right?
That is right. For those of you who don't know, I'm an attorney, and it is really difficult to find legal assistants and paralegals in a law office. Ask anybody that's an attorney. It's close to impossible. LinkedIn was one of the only ways we were able to even find interviewees to attract for that position. LinkedIn did make it very easy. The interface is easy. The whole process of setting it up is easy. And as Drake mentioned, it's free. There's your best reason.
So, listen to Dave, folks. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Once again, folks, that's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free, and most importantly, for the free. And as always, terms and conditions do apply. All right, folks, we are rocking and rolling. I want to thank each and every single one of you for joining us on this beautiful, beautiful Monday on Locked On Seminoles, and also making us your first listen each and every single day. Now, Dave, we talked about last season. Let's talk about moving forward for the future in this upcoming season. As we know, Treshaun Ward has transferred out. He's going to be the, I think, running back 2 or running back 1 over at Kansas State. Running back 1 because Deuce Vaughn has entered the NFL draft. We did bring in Cazaiah Holmes as a PWO. And that's someone that I wouldn't be surprised if he earned a scholarship towards the end of spring. How do you see the running back room, set up for next season? And what do you expect from them in 2023, especially with the additions along the offensive line, we'll talk about later in the week?
Yeah, so I'll elaborate a little on what you just said in a sec about the Cazaiah Holmes situation. So Trey Benson, I think we have a great idea what he is. He is a bruising running back. He is quite impossible to bring down after contact. I think that is probably Trey Benson's best trait. He averaged 6.5 yards a carry. It was 0.2 less than Treshaun Ward, but where he absolutely annihilated Treshaun Ward and everybody else on this team was in yards after contact per attempt. Trey Benson averaged over 4.5 yards after contact each and every attempt last year. So he's averaging almost a half a first down every time he gets hit. After that, that's incredible. That's
He's
nuts.
mean, man. He's mean. He's just a
He
mean
is.
runner.
Like, he's the kind of guy who, when you look at him, you think he's going to run through you, but I think he also has enough quickness to get around you. He is everything you want in a lead back, and I think that's what became I'm going to say problem. The problem last year for Treshaun Ward is that Trey Benson he outgrew his shoes. He forced the coach's hand into starting him and playing him early and often. And
Especially with Treshaun Ward, like, showcasing, like, how the elite vision, everything's like, "Hey, man,
right.
like, listen, you need to go get if you're trying to make a year, you're not gonna be running back one here with the way Trey Benson was playing and the skill set he had."
And I think Trey Benson's skill set lent really well to what this team needed, because you're talking about an offensive line that has improved, obviously, under Atkins, but it's not one of the best lines in the ACC. It's not one of the best lines in the country. There's plenty of room to grow. And run blocking has been a problem here for a long, long time. Anytime we've had a good running back lately, it's been in spite of that. And so having a guy like Trey Benson, who is going to get yards after contact. So if he's hit in the backfield or hit at the line of scrimmage because the line didn't block well enough, he can still go get 4 or 5 yards. That is exactly what this team needs until the offensive line is elite. So I think we know exactly what we have in that. The fact that he didn't get to 1,000 yards this year, I think will probably fuel his 1,000-yard campaign next year. I fully expect him to reach that mark. In fact, we'll do some early predictions and stuff, but he's going to reach that mark before the ACC championship game. So I have really high hopes for a big, big season from Trey Benson, but it's not just him. It's his show, but it's not just him. There's a good supporting cast behind him. Like I said, I don't think Treshaun Ward being here is necessary for this running game to flourish. When you talk about having a Lawrance Toafili, a guy who's a known quantity, like I said, I think you know exactly what you're going to get out of him. If he takes another step up, if he can get over 3 yards after contact, like put a little weight on or develop a little more strength, I think he will be a very good complement out of the backfield. You also have Rodney Hill, who's going to be in year 2 in this program. I really liked what I saw at him, averaging over 5 yards a carry and 3.5 yards after contact per attempt last year was very impressive out of Rodney Hill. Rodney Hill graded at an 80 last year in his freshman season. So, I really do think the sky's the limit for that kid. If you talk to people around the program, they'll tell you the same thing. And then last thing I'll say is Cazaiah Holmes. Cazaiah Holmes was a walk-on here, but that kid was a 4-star running back at Penn State, and his best football is ahead of him, and everybody in the program is really excited about Cazaiah Holmes and his potential. He is a bigger running back, and a bigger running back is something we don't have behind Trey Benson. So I think he's the perfect complementary piece in terms of the bigger running back that you're going to need. And I'm just excited what we're going to see out of him.
And folks, with Cazaiah Holmes, you also got to remember he didn't transfer because he wasn't basically playing well enough or anything else. Like, the running back at Penn State could be basically the next Bijan Robinson, actually on the college level, where he probably could have left to play the NFL early. The kid, I think his name is Nick Singleton. He is a dynamite runner, and I think Cazaiah Holmes is one of, I want to say, 2 or maybe even 3 running backs actually out of Penn State that did transfer out. And then with Rodney Hill, I would not be surprised if Rodney Hill by the end of the season is your running back too. That's someone that you saw last year. He's got the frame to put on some more size. He is very, very fast. His running style is really fun to watch. It reminds me a lot of Devontae Freeman. That's someone that, Rodney Hill showcased he has almost everything at an earlier time than LT had. And then with LT I think has the best hands in your team. I just want to be able to see, is he able to kind of invite a little more content? But you're right. I think his bread and butter is going around pursuing tacklers as well. So
yeah, it's just there's a lot of untapped potential, I think, in this running back room. Like we have a lot to learn this year, and I think there's a fun element about that, because I don't think any of what we learn is going to be detrimental to the team, for example, because Trey Benson's going to eat up so many of the carries. but it's going to be really exciting to see what's in store for us in 2024, and for what's going to be in store for us when Trey Benson's taking a breather next year, because one of those guys behind him is going to pop. You're going to see it. Cazaiah Holmes is going to average one of him, Hill or Lawrance Toafili is going to blow up and average 6-7 yards a carry or something like that. There's my another early prediction for you, but the potential's all there. Again, Cazaiah Holmes, highly rated running back. Rodney Hill was a decently rated running back. Lawrance Toafili was a 4-star. These are all guys that were marked for their talent and potential, and some of them have shown some of it already. But I think they have a lot more to show us in 2023. I expect great things out of this running back room. It's going to be better than last year.
And not only that, Dave, I mean, you kind of highlighted the point earlier, and you and Max talked about it also last week on Saturday. Folks, tune in. Great show. That the offensive line did not do a lot of favors in the running game. They didn't. And with the additions of Casey Roddick, Keandre Jones, I think there's one more kid that I'm obviously forgetting, and it's Jeremiah Byers. When you're adding these players to the line, the running game is going to improve. So maybe, hey, by improving that unit, you're going to improve the running back unit as a whole too. You know what else is helpful out there to improve yourself, Dave?
I'd like to know.
It is our friends over at Built Bar, folks. That is right, folks. Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends over at Built.com, aka the delicious, nutritious treat Built Bar. Folks, are you looking for a delicious treat, but don't want all the fats and calories? Folks, I am 1 year out from my wedding, so trust me, I have these on deck in my house because your boy likes some chocolate, as you can plainly see. Now, Dave is the cookie dough connoisseur. Your boy is the cherry barcia Casanova. But if you don't like those two flavors, there are 18 delicious flavors, other delicious flavors to choose from with only 130 calories or 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't even order it online. You can, for years, I'm talking about it online, going to built.com, using this promo code. But now you can get them over at your local Walmart or your local Sam's Club. That's right, folks. Head to your nearest Walmart today. Walk to the pharmacy section and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You may get a 4-bar of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or if feeling more of the island life, get some coconut puffs. Folks, if close to the Clan Club right now, get a 13-bar box with the best flavors. I recommend the brownie batter or a churro. And as always, you'll thank me later. And please grab some now so we can get healthy together in 2023. Okay, Dave, it's about that time. I'm going to hand the ball off to you. Last segment. How do you want to close this out?
I think let's talk wild card. Let's finish up what I was talking toward the end there. I did this with Max too, and I think it was interesting. Who the biggest wild card is going to be on the team? I wish it was Lawrance Toafili. He's been here for long enough now that I really would just like to see him blow up, but I don't know. Like, I've said it a couple times on this show now, and I've said it a million times before, but I feel like we know what he is now, and what he is a useful, decent college running back. If not better than decent, maybe he's good.
I think he's solid, reliable. I think it's like,
right,
it's like, oh yeah, he's getting the ball. Oh, this is going for like 8 to 12 yards. This is perfect.
Okay, I wouldn't say 8 to 12, but I would say
or the wheel, like that. You kind of goes with the real route. You just know what's going to happen with that.
I feel like he's dependable. You know exactly what you're going to get out of Lawrance Toafili. Every year now, we've said he needs to put on weight if he's going to take on contact and improve that yards after contact numbers. The biggest problem we have with Lawrance Toafili is you can't average under 2.5 yards after contact with an offensive line that's not pushing back the defensive line and creating as much space for you as the better offensive lines in the country and in the conference do.
Which if the running blocking improves, maybe we stand up. Maybe that's what he needs.
Right. That's entirely possible. One of these years now, we're going to have good run blocking or great run blocking. It's going to happen. And it's going to be one of these years. But if that isn't the case, if it is the case, everyone's going to have a great year. Everyone's going to be the wild card. The whole room's a wild card. If the run blocking is not great, Lawrance Toafili is going to have to stay up more after contact, or he's going to get supplanted on the depth chart, like you mentioned, by Rodney Hill or Cazaiah Holmes, both of whom it is really tough for me to pick a wild card between them, because I've seen firsthand enough out of Rodney Hill last year to know that I like what I see. I know I like that he's averaging 3.5 yards after contact.
You picked him. You were actually the highest, I think, all three of us when we were doing the rookie freshman. Like, you were like, "Hey, give this kid some carries." You said that literally, I think, even during spring practice last year when he was a freshman.
Yeah, I mean, his high school highlights. I mean, it's really hard to watch high school highlights and take much from it, unless like
But they look sick.
They did, right. Rodney Hill displayed some of last year what I thought he did in high school. So that talent from those high school films was real. That potential and that production was real. And you feed him more than the 27 carries he got last year on just 32 snaps. Like, the sample size was really small. And then until the NCAA cleared players to play in the bowl game without burning their red shirt, if they had done that earlier, I think he would have played a lot more last season. I really do. And he's gonna, especially with Treshaun Ward out, those big carries for the second running back spot are up for grabs. And like you said, would not be the least bit surprising if by the end of the year, it was his room to lose, or his second position to lose.
So Rodney Hill's your wild card?
I think Rodney Hill's my wild card. I mean, it's funny because the easier answer is probably Jordan Travis. Like,
Well, he's not a running back. He's not a running back.
Yeah.
We're not entertaining that. We're not even putting that out there right now for all these people watching this. No, absolutely
I'm
not.
going to go Rodney Hill, who, by the way, is the least highly rated running back in the room per the recruiting rankings. Yes, I want to say Cazaiah Holmes just because it's a fun answer. Because he was really highly rated coming out of high school. I thought Penn State thought a lot of him. And I'm excited for what he brings. But Rodney Hill, it feels like there's something special about him.
So I think I'm torn between Cazaiah Holmes and CJ Campbell. CJ Campbell was the preferred walk-on that did injure himself during fall camp, but then you saw kind of the speed, the burst, and the talent that is there during the end of the season and also during the bowl game. But I am going to go with Cazaiah Holmes because that's someone that the talent is obviously there. Jawan Sider, I think, was the main recruiter for him actually over at Penn State. And Jawan Sider knows his running backs very, very well. He was an all-purpose back, high 4-star. People forget that when Taggart was here, it was between him and Jalen Knight actually when they were recruiting wise for. And we landed at the time after we went to Miami, Jalen Knight. And with Cazaiah Holmes, great hands, great speed, very, very good size, and that's someone that you gave a kid that is of that talent that takes a PWO spot during the season. He's been on the scout team since I think the middle of October or in the middle of November. If he gets his playbook down and he's going to be basically the X factor probably for the first LSU game. I'm very excited to see what the pride of Cocoa Beach, Florida actually is able to showcase with FSU next year.
That I think what you just said is probably the most important thing with him is that he's not an incoming recruit. He's not an early enrollee this year. He's already been here. He's already been with the team. So the playbook, he should already be ingratiated into that room and into the playbook. And that's going to help. That's going to help it from being a setback for him, I think. I think he has got to be the most eager guy on the team to get on the field and see some carries already or see some play time. I can't think of a guy on the team who is who's probably just been itching more to play football. So yeah, I'm really excited about him. And because both of us said that, it's going to end up being Lawrance Toafili. But the point is, there's a lot of talent behind Trey Benson. It's not only him. There's going to be a guy behind him that steps up, maybe more than one even, and leads this running back room to be yet again one of the best in the country.
No, 100% agree. And folks, that is the end of today's episode. And Dave, as always, please send us home the beautiful way that you do. And always remember, folks, how much we love them.
We do love you. Even when Drake doesn't tell me to tell you that I love you, I do it all on my own. And for our podcast, find us anywhere you find your podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google Play, all those places. For the YouTube, give the video a like if you could, please. Takes 2 seconds. Subscribe to the channel, ding the little bell, turn your notifications on, all those good things, and leave us a comment. Who is your wild card in the running back room for the 2023 season? And thank you for listening, as always.
As always, folks, that was Dave. This is Drake. And we'll see y'all next time on Locked On Seminoles. Take care, everybody.
Go Noles.